Hey, what's going on, everybody? What's going on? Welcome back to the channel. Real Sports Updates here, back again with another video. So we just got done watching the third and final preseason game that the Chargers will be playing this season, 2022. Um, just like every other preseason game, good and bad. So I have my list here, my notes that I took. I kind of want to just go over some stuff. Good, gonna go through good and bad. My overall thought of this game though was this was a lot better. It was a lot better played game than the other two preseason games. I would say, particularly last week against the Cowboys. That was very sloppy. Um, really from start to finish, it was just a bad game. And the Chargers just ended up getting pounded in the game. But I think this game was a little better from the standpoint that the Chargers, they went out there, they went down 14-0 immediately, and then they came back and they kind of made some noise there, and they just didn't take the pounding, with no resistance. So I thought that was good. So obviously the first quarter was bad. It was not a good first quarter. And a lot of people are using the excuse that, the Saints starters were playing. But to me, it's just not, it's not that, the Saints they're going to be a good team, but I just don't feel like it is a reasonable excuse to say, hey, all the guys starters are playing out there. The other team started, they're playing. So our team is a license to go out there and just suck and just completely, just think to join up just because their other team starters are playing. Like, it doesn't matter who's playing. Like, you still have to even if you're not winning the game, right? Even if there's more talent on the field, football is football. So you still have to do your job, right? You still have to play assignment based football, right? And do your job, right? All the way from the quarterback, offensive line, wide receivers. Everybody has to do their job. So it's not a reasonable excuse to say, hey man, we're we got talent out there. Everybody's their starters are playing. So let's just go out here and just do whatever. That's not good enough for me. And obviously the first quarter was very sloppy. It moved really quickly. The first quarter moved really fast, but the Chargers just were sloppy. They were caught. Seemed like they were caught off guard. They knew that the Saints, starters were going to play. A good portion of the first quarter. They didn't hide it. The Saints they had been planning this. This was Jameis Winston's first action in almost a year, since he got injured. I think it was like week 5 last year of the 2021 season. So the Saints have been planning to play Jameis Winston. So if a team's going to play their starting quarterback, they're going to play starting linemen. They're going to play starting, receivers. They're going to have the starting unit out there with the starting quarterback playing. So the Chargers knew this. They've been talking about, Saints have been talking about this since last week. So it wasn't a surprise and a shock that the Saints played their starters out there. I thought, if anything, it was opportunity for the Chargers guys, the Charger players who might be, on the bubble. It was a opportunity for them to go out there and make a statement, right? Make some noise against guys who are NFL starters. That's what you want to do. So I didn't think that was a reasonable excuse. I wasn't happy with the first quarter, but again, they came back and they were better in the second quarter. They kind of got settled down a little bit. I've been really ripping on Chase Daniel, but I got to give him credit because he played a lot better in this game. He was more prepared. I think he was more scripted as far as the play calling goes. I think when he came into the game against the Cowboys, there was really no script, right? You're kind of just going with the flow of things. You're kind of just playing, with whatever the game, whichever way the game is going at that point. That's kind of the way the game is getting called. And the Chargers were playing bad last week, so the game kind of got called. So Chase Daniel can throw the ball a lot and all of this, and protection wasn't there and all of that stuff. This week was much more scripted, so he looked a lot better. There were still a couple of throws that were very bad on his part. He gets off of his mark very quickly. If he feels any pressure, he will get off of his mark, and his follow through, everything mechanical, just breaks down and it looks ugly, and he will sail the ball like real quick. So Again, I still don't think that he should be the starting quarterback. Easton Stick had to deal with what Chase Daniel dealt with last week. So that's why, Easton Stick really didn't look all that great tonight. But just from a talent perspective, it's not even close. I think Easton Stick is the number 2 quarterback, and I think it will play itself out that way. But it was a better played game this week than it was last week. So I do have to give the Chargers credit for that. Now, um, obviously, the guy who impressed tonight was Josh Kelly. I ripped on Josh Kelly too, but Josh Kelly has played his way into the number 2 running back spot. That was something that I talked about. I said if he performed in practice, I know it was going to get the coach's attention, but it's going out in the games and actually, showing that you've improved in the games. And, to me, he's shown enough that he deserves his number 2 running back spot. He's taken his his off-season nutrition, his diet, all of that stuff. He took it very seriously, and it shows. He looks a lot faster. I was tweeting during the game. He looks a lot faster. He looks more explosive. Obviously everybody's talking about that hurdle that he had for that the first down run. I think it was like a 3rd and 14. Very impressive. He's running harder. He looks faster. So I think that is something that obviously the Chargers can use. I know Brandon Staley really wants to get this run game going, to have it be, sustainable over the entire season. And I think, if you have a Eckler at 1, Josh Kelly at 2, obviously Isaiah Spiller, dealing with the ankle injury, didn't play last night. I mean, he didn't play tonight, but, if those guys are 1, 2, 3, I think that's a solid group of running backs to have all season long to sustain a running game every single game. And, just going into the season, I'm happy with that. If you're a Charger fan, I think you should be happy with it as well too. Josh Kelly, he's proved himself, and he was on the outs, and he didn't have the best 2 years, but my mind has changed on him. I think I feel comfortable with Josh Kelly at the number 2 running back. He did impress me a lot tonight, and he deserves a lot of credit for his turnaround. So very impressed with him. I think as far as bubble guys go, the 2 that stand out in my mind, Brandon Fehoko needs to make this team. He really played well tonight. I know he probably felt comfortable playing there at the Superdome. He is a LSU guy, so he played on that championship team in 2019. So I know he's comfortable there. So and he looked very comfortable tonight. He had a pretty good game. He was out there. He was all over the place. He was in the backfield. He was stopping the run, and I think he is a guy that you can definitely go to. He's one of the guys that I would feel very comfortable with, as a rotation lineman, especially, to play the run, to stop the run. This Brandon Staley defense, which is, an offshoot of the defense from Denver, the Vic Fangio defense. This defense works at its best, and it really it only works, right? The scheme only works if you have guys in there to stop the run, right? We know Austin Johnson is a run stopper. We know Sebastian Joseph Day can stop the run as well too, right? But when those guys are not in the game, when they need a rest, they need a breather, I think Brandon Fehoko is a guy you can really go to. You can really count on. He's going to play the run. That's what he does very well. And I honestly think he shouldn't be on the bubble anymore. I think he should make the team. He's done enough in training camp to show that he has still, he's gotten better. I think he lost a little weight too. He looks a little more in shape than he did last year. He even got some pressures on the quarterback tonight too, which is kind of funny watching him trying to stumble back there and put pressure on the quarterback. But it's still it means that he's breaking through the line, right? He's good enough. He's strong enough. He's quick enough. His hands are good. And I think he obviously should make the team. Another guy who I think should make the team, I think Michael Bandy should make the team. I think he's shown enough to make this team. It was said during the broadcast with Noah Eagle and Dan Fouts, Michael Bandy is going to be playing football in the NFL, somewhere in the NFL this year. If it's not for the Chargers, another team is going to pick Michael Bandy up. He has put out enough good tape all 3 preseason games. He's been phenomenal route running, catching the ball, physical catches too, right? He's being played in the slot, right? He's being played by a slot corner, or he's being defended by a linebacker, and he's shown that he can make physical catches, right? Even though he's not the biggest guy, but he's shown that he can, break through that contact and make those physical catches. So I think he has earned a spot on this team, just from everything that he's put together. I know he's had a really good camp, but he's put this together in the preseason. With different quarterbacks too, right? With Chase Daniel throwing him the ball sometimes, with Easton Stick throwing him the ball sometimes. So if Michael Bandy is a guy who needs to go into the game, I feel like the Chargers can trust him, especially with Justin Herbert throwing him the ball. If he's a guy that can get open in the slot, right? He's not the fastest guy, but he does have that quick slot receiver movement, right? The lateral movement to be able to go left, right, stop on a dime, cut out. He can do all of that stuff. So I think he's done enough to make this team. Michael Bandy should be making this team. And, anybody who argues that, you really can't say who else has really done anything. Joe Reed had a okay game against the Rams, but after that he disappeared. And, you really haven't seen him do anything. And I don't even think he played tonight. I'm not sure if he was hurt or not, but he didn't play tonight. Michael Bandy should be making this team. And to me, it's very clear. I think those are Brandon Fehoko, Michael Bandy, the two guys who are on the bubble, who I think really solidified their spot on the 53-man tonight. They are both, I think they can both really give you what you're looking for. Michael Bandy can give you something in the slot, especially in a five receiver set, right? You got, Keenan Allen, you got Mike Williams, maybe you got, DeAndre Carter. Michael Bandy can work the middle of the field, and he can make tough catches. He's a tough little son of a gun. So I enjoy watching him play. He is definitely earned my respect. I know he's earned the respect of a lot of people, in the league, not just with the Chargers, but a lot of people in the league are talking about Michael Bandy. And like I said, if the Chargers let him go, or if the Chargers think that they can stash him away on the practice squad, he will be playing football for somebody this year. There's 31 other teams that can use him. So he would definitely be playing football this year for somebody. So hopefully it's for the Chargers. But, I think I've seen enough from him where I say Michael Bandy can definitely play in this league. So definitely happy that he is a guy who, has worked his butt off, right? Came up from college. Nobody knew who he was, but he really worked his tail off. You were hearing things about him last year in camp too. So, but he looks good. He looks good, and he looks like he's ready to go. So definitely happy for him. I was also Trey Pipkins got into the game. I was also very impressed with him. The Saints went out there with their first team defense as well too. He held up really well. Trey Pipkins held up well. You didn't hear his name, but he was doing his job. He held up well. I think he's settling into the right tackle position. We know that he won the position at this point now. Storm Norton is going to be the swing tackle, but Trey Pipkins played well tonight, and hopefully this is a new beginning for him because remember, guys, this game last year. Remember this exact game last year, last preseason game of the 2021 preseason. Trey Pipkins was getting his ass kicked by the Seattle Seahawks and guys who got cut by the Seattle Seahawks. So he really showed me something tonight. I think he is going to settle in pretty well. So I'm excited for him. And, hopefully he can continue to, just progress and, not do too much. He doesn't have to be a Pro Bowler, but if he can just hold up, against some of the speedier pass rushers, I think those are the guys that he normally has trouble with, but he seemed like he was on point tonight. So definitely happy for him. And I think he'll end up working out this year. But like I said in a video before, if Trey Pipkins is not working out, you can expect to see Storm Norton, probably take some snaps at the right tackle. Those are going to be the two guys who are primarily playing right tackle this year. So that's really all the Chargers have right now. So I'm putting my faith in Trey Pipkins. Hopefully he can hold up. He held up well tonight, but it's going to be a very tough season in the AFC West with all the pass rushers out there. So hopefully he can hold up. He played well tonight, so I'm definitely proud of him. Now here's where I get to some of the bad stuff. Now I'm very worried about the secondary behind the starters. Right now, I like J.C. Jackson. Obviously, he's one of the best in the league. I think Michael Davis is he has something to prove. He has a chip on his shoulder. He's going to be a free agent. I think he's going to have a good season. Obviously, Asante Samuel Jr., he was very good as a rookie last year, expect him to be better this year. So those three guys are solidified. I think they're going to have good seasons. But it always brings into question the injury bug, right? What happens if these guys get injured? What happens if you need one of these young players to come in and take over one of the roles? I'm a little worried in that space just because these young DBs are not ready. JT Woods is not ready. I don't believe I've seen Dean Leonard out on the field, but Dean Leonard is not ready either. The only rookie DB that the Chargers drafted this year that's ready is Jasir Taylor. Jasir Taylor is ready to play. He is definitely settling in at that nickel corner position. He looks comfortable in it now. He's very fast, and I think he can cover a lot of ground, and he can do a very good job in that position. And he got some snaps on the outside as well too. And he's a pretty good tackler for being a small guy as well too. So he's ready to go. Jasir Taylor is ready to go, but JT Woods had a rough game again. He can't tackle. He can't tackle. And just like I said in the video last week, he shouldn't be playing this year. He shouldn't be playing any meaningful defensive snaps. He should be relegated to special teams, and he should be on a plan to kind of transform his body. He needs to get bigger. He needs to get stronger. You cannot have, you can't be playing safety, trying to tackle tight ends and being dragged every single week. JT Woods gets dragged this is the third week in a row where he's tried to tackle a bigger wide receiver or a bigger tight end, and he gets dragged. You just you can't do that. Like, that's enough of that now. So I don't know. That maybe he should move. Maybe he should move inside to nickel corner or something, or maybe he should try to move the corner. I don't know, but he's a very slender guy. He is very light in the ass. He does not bring any legs with him to tackle. It's all upper body. That's why guys are just able to kind of bounce off of him. So it's very, very obvious, and you can tell. And he's resorting to trying to wrap a guy up around his legs, and that typically doesn't work with big tight ends. Those are big, girthy guys. They're normally tall, 240, 250. That's just not going to work, especially at the NFL level. So JT Woods is not ready to play. He's fast, and he's most of the time he's in position to make a play. He just doesn't make it because his body is not there yet. He's not ready to. He doesn't have grown man strength yet, and he's still a young guy. So I think there's still some time for him to develop some strength and all of that stuff. But as far as him being on the field this year, I don't see it. He's just not ready. And there's no shame in that either. When Nasir Adderley came into the league, I think he was a little like JT Woods. It wasn't as bad, but his body, he kind of had to build his body up as well too. He had to get stronger, and that's what the importance of the offseason program is. The strength program, getting your body right, getting your diet right, making sure you're in the gym, making sure you're lifting, making sure you're doing all the lifts. And it's not just about getting bigger, but making sure you're doing all the lifts, all of the different movements, to increase your functional strength out on the field, right? You don't need to bulk up and get, Bob Sanders big, but, it's about your functional strength, being able to meet a guy at the point of attack and getting him on the ground. And I think that's his biggest issue right now. I think he'll be much, much better next year after he goes through a full offseason in the NFL. But as of right now, it's just, what to expect from him right now. So it doesn't really look great, but I'm not giving up on him. He's still a young guy. So, I think once he goes through an off-season program, I think he'll be fine next year. He's just not ready this year. He's not ready. He's not ready this year. Nothing wrong with it. There's a bunch of talent, plenty of talent on the team. So there's nothing really wrong with him not being ready now. You just gotta wait for him to pop a little later on. I think that's one of the draft picks that you invest in. You don't expect the guy to come in and start doing things right away. You kind of invest in it. So JT Woods he's kind of far away from, being what he should be in the NFL. So, but as far as the other DBs go, I think we're okay right now. Like I said, as far as injuries go, especially if there's not too many injuries, they will be fine. The top three corners on the team are good. You can put them up against almost anybody else, any other team's top three corners, and they're right there in the range. So I think they're going to be fine on the back end. Obviously, Derwin James, at safety, Nasir Adderley at the other safety. So I think everything's going to be fine. Bryce Callahan playing the nickel cornerback position. He has been very, very good in camp. He knows Staley's defense. So I think the Chargers are going to be fine. Just hopefully there's not too much injury and attrition, because if there is, then that could be a problem potentially later in the season. But hopefully it doesn't get to that point, and hopefully they can stay healthy. As far as offensive line play, Brendan Hymas is a guy. He has been extremely disappointing since he got into the league. To me, it's an obvious cut. To me, it's a very obvious cut. He's just been very disappointing, man. I just don't. I don't know. I don't know what it is with him. Something about his body language. He's not a good NFL player. How long can you really wait on the guy, especially when you have Super Bowl aspirations? I get that the Chargers drafted him, but he just doesn't have it. At guard, he just does not have it. He's big, he has the size, but he just does not have it. I seen him get thrown down several times in this game. I watched him very intently, and he just didn't show me that he has enough. When is he going to do something? When is he going to do something meaningful in this league? He's obviously not ready to play. I don't think that he's a guy that will, if he does make the team, I don't think he'll see any time. He might get, a few loose snaps, here and there, but I don't think he's a guy that's ready to contribute to this team. And, if you're the Chargers, you have Super Bowl hopes, you have Super Bowl aspirations. At this point right now, I didn't want to get into it too early in the preseason and all that stuff, but the Chargers have Super Bowl aspirations. This is what the Chargers hope to do. The Chargers hope to be in the Super Bowl. If the Bengals got there last year, the Chargers can definitely get there this year. But you need guys who are gonna, be able to contribute. You don't need everybody to be a superstar. You don't need everybody to be an All-Pro. You don't need everybody to be a household name, but you do need guys that are going to come in and contribute. And Brendan Hymas is a guy that hasn't shown that he's going to contribute anything. He gets beat way too much for me. And, especially if you are in the front office, if you're Tom Telesco, do you want a guy who gets beat this quickly, right? Because at some point, if he is called on to play, the health, the safety of your franchise quarterback, of the face of the franchise, Justin Herbert, is going to be in this man's hands. And if he's getting beat quickly by guys who are not going to necessarily make NFL rosters, right? Because the guys that he was getting beat by tonight are probably not going to make the Saints roster. So, when it comes to the Aaron Donalds of the world, right? When it comes to the, you look at some of the good interior players, even some of the good outside players who are going to be, he's going to be one-on-one against in stunts and stuff like that. You can't have that. You can't have a guy who gets beat that much and that badly, potentially having the franchise quarterback's health in his hands. So that's why I think this guy is a cut. He hasn't shown anything. Maybe he can go with another team, and maybe he can improve his individual play, maybe improve his mechanics and things like that. But as far as him being on this team, I just don't think he's done anything to show that he needs to be on this roster. So to me, I say the Chargers should cut him. The backup guard position, obviously you have Jamari Sawyer. There's a couple other guys as well too. So I think he's a guy that should be cut, but we'll see on Tuesday. I think he's a guy that should, he should be up, tonight and, probably up until Tuesday. I wonder if he's going to make this team, because to me, he hasn't shown enough in the preseason. I haven't really heard it, read all the practice reports and training camp, and I haven't heard anything about him. And, this is a competitive league, and you're going to have to show something, right? Your draft status at some point doesn't really, do you any justice. It doesn't matter at what point you got drafted or whatever. You have to go out there and you have to prove yourself every single day in this league. Brendan Hymas has not done that as of yet. So to me, he does not deserve to make this roster. So, it is what it is, right? Now, a guy who I think has a possible chance to make this roster is Carlo Kemp. number 54. He's played really well all season long. I think he is in a battle with Jamal Davis, number 44. I think both of those guys are kind of in a battle to make one of the roster spots at pass rusher. But to me, Carlo Camp has a much more complete game at pass rusher than Jamal Davis does. Jamal Davis is one of those guys. Jamal Davis is a get off the bus guy, number 44. He's one of those guys you look at, when the other team is coming, like, you're playing high school football and the other team comes and you see the guys get off the bus. He's a guy where you look at, he's looking, he's getting off the bus and he's all, big and buff and muscle bound and stuff. And you're looking like, who is that guy? And that's what I said when I first seen him when the Chargers first signed him. Like, yo, who is this dude? He's buff as hell. He looks like a superstar. But he is a guy. He's okay. He's okay as a pass rusher. I mean, he plays pretty well against the run, but he is a little stiff in the hips. He doesn't have the bend of a pass rusher. And, I think when you see a guy like that who's all big and buff and stuff, you kind of see like, oh, maybe this dude is going to, do something or whatever. But he doesn't play as big as he looks, right? He's not just throwing people around and all that stuff. The NFL game is a game that is based off of leverage. Low man pretty much almost always wins, right? So when you see a guy like that, you're looking at him like, maybe he can do some stuff, but he really doesn't do all that much. He's obviously strong, so he plays the run really well. I think Carlo Camp, though, has a complete game as far as a pass rusher goes. One of the plays that he made tonight was very impressive. He got inside on one of the tackles, and he was able to stretch a play all the way out. And I think Brandon Fajoko came up and cleaned it up. Very impressive. He got inside with extreme quickness. And he's a guy, he can also rush the passer as well, too. He's not as big and buff as Jamal Davis is, but he can rush the passer and he can bend that corner. And as a pass rusher, that is one of the most important things. Can you bend the corner, right? Are your hips flexible enough to bend that corner? And Jamal Davis hasn't really shown that in these 3 preseason games. Carlo Camp has made plays in all 3 preseason games, though. He's made plays on the outside. He's made plays on the inside. He's made plays in the run game. He's rushed the passer. I think he's a guy. I think he is a sleeper to make this roster now because I've seen so much good tape from him. I think he'll be a guy if the Chargers do decide to move on from him, or maybe if they decide to practice squad him. I think that he will be playing in the NFL this year. I don't know for who, but he will be playing in the NFL this year because he's shown enough. His pass rushing skills are much more refined than Jamal Davis, and I think he's a guy. If any Bosa, Mac, they need a break or something, or injury, whatever, this guy can come in and make plays. And he seems to know what he's doing. He seems to have a grasp on what will be asked of him in this defense. So he's a guy that's impressed me all 3 games. I think he has out of all of the bubble guys, I think he's probably had the best preseason. I think, and like the true bubble guys, right? The true bubble guys who wasn't on the roster last year, outside of Brandon Fajoko and those guys who played last year. The bubble guy with just the outside chance. I think he's had the best preseason. He's been consistent all 3 games. And, if you are consistently making plays every time you step on the field, you're going to turn heads. And he's a guy who's done that. And, I do appreciate that. And, I think he could make this team. I would not be surprised if he made this team at all. So I was going to read this comment from the boss, Bryce Callahan. Yeah, Bryce Callahan is good, man. He's good. He knows the Staley defense. He played in Denver, Staley coached in Denver. I think he played in Chicago as well, too. So he's played with Staley at 2 different stops. So he understands his defense. He's been in this defense for, I think, all of his career, because he was in Chicago when Vic Fangio was the defensive coordinator. Then he went to Denver when Vic Fangio got hired as head coach. So he knows this defense. And I think he is going to be very good. He's going to be very, very good. And because he knows his defense, he's going to be ahead of everybody else who's kind of still learning it and is still picking it up. He's going to be a guy. Look for him to make some plays, like the first couple of interceptions or whatever. That Bryce Callahan might be the guy to have those because he understands his role in the defense, and he's played in it. He's extremely comfortable. So, and now he has a little bit more talent around him. So I think he's a guy that can flash. Definitely, from first game on, he's a guy that can flash immediately. So let's get to the back. Punter, J.K. Scott. I think he's an upgrade from Ty Long. Ty Long was a punter last year. Ty Long was a guy, he punted, and he was able to kick too. I remember him kicking a few times for the Chargers. I think that was like 2020, I think. But J.K. Scott is a much better punter than Ty Long was. J.K. Scott has the hang time, and he had a really good punt. I think it was in the the end of the first half? It was like almost a coffin corner, but he put it towards the sideline, I think at the 10-yard line. And it was a pretty far kick too. It looked like he might have covered like 50 yards or whatever. So J.K. Scott, I like J.K. Scott. He is a very, very good punter. And I think a lot of people overlook it because a punter can be a great weapon, especially for a team that has a good defense, especially for a team that has two, really great outside pass rushers, right? You get the ball, you kick a team all the way back to their goal line. You let Khalil Mack, you let Joey Bosa go in and, try to make a play, strip sack, whatever. That's a difference maker. It is a difference maker that gets overlooked in the NFL. J.K. Scott, he has a really good boot. I like it. I like his hang time. The only thing the Chargers need to do and make sure that they stay consistent on is the gunners and the special teams play. Just he needs to make sure that he doesn't outkick his coverage. But it's up to the coverage to, take the right lanes and, just do the right things on special teams to maximize J.K. Scott, because there aren't a lot of kickers in the league. There aren't a lot of punters in this league that have the hang time that J.K. Scott has. So he allows the coverage team to get down the field, and, be able to make a play on a guy. And, I think, the more guys that get downfield on punts, the more nervous it makes the punt returner. And that's when you see guys muff punts. And then, you can have a whole lot of stuff going on after that. But it is a weapon. And I think that was one of the things that the Chargers did this year that I liked that didn't get talked about. Very under the radar stuff. It got, the punting situation definitely had to improve. Ty Long was not that great last year. His average wasn't great. He really didn't do a whole lot of pinning guys inside the 10-yard line. So I expect that to change this year. J.K. Scott, definitely underrated acquisition by the Chargers. I love it. Now, the second half offense was not good at all. And I kind of went over this right now as far as, the play calling goes, game planning and all of that stuff. You don't game plan for the second half specifically, right? In most games, I don't think you do that. The play calling is based off the ebb and flow of the game, the way that the game has pretty much been going. That is what your play calling is, on both sides of the ball, offense and defense. You're going off of what has just happened. You're kind of just reacting to things that have happened. When you start scripting plays for the first, couple of series, right? That's pretty much what is standard, right? In not just in the NFL, but in football. So second half offense didn't look good, and Easton Stick didn't look good. But it wasn't really his fault. You can't fault him. I think this was kind of a mishmash of an offensive unit, right? You kind of just take you take a tackle and, you put him at a place and you want to get a look at him there, right? But that might not be his natural place. And I know, there's not a whole lot of, optimism with the guys who were in there, not, the Zach Baileys, the Hunters, there's not a whole lot of optimism as far as those guys go. If they do make the team, those are going to be bench guys, right? They might get in, as extra linemen, maybe in some respect, maybe throughout the season. But those are going to be guys who are not going to be playing, meaningful snaps for the most part if they do make the team. So I can't really say that it was Easton Stick's fault. I can't really say it's the offense's fault in general. Because how much practice time did they get in? It was ugly. Easton Stick was off kilter. He threw a lot of balls that he shouldn't have thrown. He threw a lot of balls in the dirt, just very inaccurate. Um, and it seemed like they were not prepared for whatever defense New Orleans was playing. I think they were playing a lot of basic like Tampa 2 type coverage because the corners were, hanging out in the flats a lot. So I don't know. I don't know if the Chargers were prepared and practiced for, what they were going to see. It didn't seem like they did because the offense sucked in the second half. But I mean, I don't want to take too much away from it. At that point, you're just trying to get through the game without getting guys injured. Especially Easton Stick, especially a guy like Bandy, maybe if you want him to make the team or you at that point, you're just trying to get through the game. So I kind of don't, I was, when I was, coming to do this stream now, I was kind of gonna, kind of put it on the second half offense. But now that I'm kind of here and I realize that it was kind of just a mismatched unit out there. So I just I don't know. I don't know how well they were prepared to play that second half. They should have just ran the ball out and just, it ended it there. But, I'm glad nobody got hurt. I'm glad everybody got through this preseason relatively healthy. Obviously the JC Jackson thing is something to worry about. I mean, I'm worried about it per se because JC Jackson is a guy, he thrives in man-to-man. And especially playing at home in SoFi Stadium, right? Playing on the road in the Raider Stadium, Allegiant Stadium, and all that stuff. The ankle injuries tend to, if they are not healed up 100%, they tend to follow you wherever you go. And they said on the broadcast tonight, Dan Fouts said that he came to LA with this ankle injury. So that just goes to show ankle injuries linger because if he injured this ankle in New England before he got to LA, this New England injury is still lingering in LA. Why? Because it's not 100% healed up. And that's how ankle injuries really work. And a lot of people say, oh, it's nothing and this and that. And I understand the press conference that Staley gave, where he went over the procedure that JC Jackson had, and it's just for comfort and blah, 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 and all of this stuff. But ankle injuries linger, especially if you are a DB, right? You think about the mechanics of what you do as a DB, right? You are backpedaling, you're stopping on the dime, you're putting your injured ankle right there in the dirt, and you're driving off of it. So obviously, if you do that several times throughout the game, it is going to cause you a lot of pain. It's going to cause you a lot of discomfort. And even if you don't have a serious injury in that ankle, if you do have just a little, minor injury per se, you doing that repetitive motion is going to keep aggravating that. And that is not going to allow the injury to heal 100%. So that's from that standpoint, that's where I'm worried. Just because, this thing might not heal, throughout the season. And obviously, if the Chargers make a playoff run, if they make a deep run in the playoffs, JC Jackson is a guy you don't just want him there. He's a guy you're going to need because JC Jackson is a guy that can shut down, a half of the field. He's one of the best, man-to-man corners in this league. And, that's kind of where my worry is. I get that people are trying to stay optimistic and all that stuff, but I'm also a realist at the same time. It's just not it's not a great injury to have as a DB. The ankle is one of the worst injuries to have as a DB. It's just not. It really doesn't go away, right? You can have good days on it and stuff like that, but as far as the repetitive motion and the repetitive use of it, you're pretty much not going to heal. For I don't know. Depends on how severe his injury was beforehand, but it just doesn't heal in the way that you play, the emotions that you go through as a defensive back. So that's where my worry is. Now, everybody says he's going to be okay. He said he's going to be okay. He said it's a posted on his Instagram story. I seen it yesterday. It's a minor setback for a major comeback. I seen that. I feel that. But I just that's just where my worry lies in that injury. Especially week one. I was looking forward. That was going to be my highlight matchup. J.C. Jackson versus Devontae Adams. Week one, right? Best on best. That was going to be the matchup that I was looking forward to. I was going to do a whole bunch of stuff on that, and now that is in jeopardy right now. So we don't know if J.C. Jackson's going to actually play week one. I hope that he does. This is 2 to 4 weeks, so there's still obviously time, for him to be back. If he does play week one, I hope that he plays. If he's feeling, between 90 to 95%, then, I think, he'll be okay. But, hopefully he just doesn't go out there just to, do the matchup with Devontae Adams. If he's not, healthy enough to go out there and play well and then be able to recover as well, to be able to recover in time to play the Kansas City Chiefs on that Thursday night game, to follow in week two. So, there's a little dilemma there, but that's just where my worry lies. I'm not worried too much about it. He is going to play some football for us this year. Obviously, he's going to play some good football for us as well. So, but it's just a week one matchup. Week one, week two, that's kind of what I'm worried about there. As far as his injury and whether it heals. Whether it heals up. I'm glad that it's not a major injury, but like I said, these things, the ankle injuries, they linger, but as far as that goes, we'll see how it plays out. Still a lot of time left. September 11th is when the regular season starts, so still a lot of time between now and then. But that was the end of the preseason. I'm glad that it's here. Now it's up to Brandon Staley. Now it's up to Tom Telesco. I'm sure these guys are not going to get any sleep. For the next 3 or 4 nights. They have to have this roster down by 53 on Tuesday. I believe it's like 1 o'clock on Tuesday, if I'm not mistaken. 1 o'clock, 3 o'clock, something on Tuesday, Eastern time. So they have a lot of decisions to make. They have a lot of film to watch. They have a lot of practice reports and things to go over in order to get this roster down. I think for the most part, a lot of these cuts are going to be relatively easy. But there is going to be, when it comes to the Michael Bandys, the Brandon Fajokos, the Carlo Kemps, guys who have really shown a lot this preseason, I think it's going to be a little difficult at some positions. If just based on how many guys they want to carry at each position, if they have those numbers solidified and how many guys they want to carry at each position, then, I think it could be a little easier for them, but it's still going to be hard to part ways with a lot of these guys. There are going to be some guys who are going to be on the practice squad. They're going to get poached, and it is what it is. I don't know if you can protect 1 or 2 guys. I can't remember how many it was, but, it's going to, it's going to be a very tough cut, for the front office to make, especially at some positions. I think the cuts at DB are going to be pretty easy. Running back, I think, could be a little harder. Depends on how many running backs they want to carry. If they want to carry 3 or 4, I don't think any of the undrafted free agents from this crop this year have really shown a lot. Kevin Marks, Lady Brown, I don't think those guys are going to make the team. They just haven't really shown a lot. Maybe practice squad or something, but they haven't shown too much. And I haven't heard, too much about them as far as training camp goes. And we haven't seen, a whole lot of them in the preseason as well either. So, really undrafted free agents, I don't think, there's going to be a lot of noise from those guys. But there are going to be 1 or 2 positions that I think are going to have to be thought over. And, thank God they have some time to do it. Just they'll take this weekend, get that all done, and then, we'll come back on Tuesday, know exactly who's on the roster. Then, we can start looking forward to week one. But end of the preseason, very lackluster preseason, in my opinion. There was some good football played by a few guys, but by and large, it wasn't really a fruitful preseason. There was a lot of bad play. Hopefully the practices were much better than these games. Hopefully guys got their work in the practice. And hopefully there was more of a symmetry in practice than there was in these preseason games, because it just was very underwhelming. I was expecting a lot more from these guys, especially being able to practice against a Justin Herbert, being able to practice against a Khalil Mack and a Joey Bosa and all that stuff. I expected some of these guys to go in there having, practiced against some of the best players in the league, going in with a little more confidence, and a little more understanding of what they need to do to make the roster. Initially coming into the preseason, I thought this roster cut was going to be a very, very tough and difficult thing. But as the preseason went along, I think it got a little easier. Guys started falling off, making a lot of mistakes and just doing a lot of stupid stuff out there. So this is the nature of the beast. You're going to have to cut guys and it's never a good thing, to watch a guy, maybe lose his dream. But the Chargers have bigger fish to fry this year. The window is open. The Super Bowl window is open. It's wide open this year. It's about this wide this year. It'll be, open next year as well too, but it's going to close a little more as, the contract stuff happens. You got to pay guys and all of that. So, the window's getting a little tighter every single season, but this is as wide as it's going to be now. So, as much as it sucks to cut guys, this is a necessary evil for the Chargers to be able to get to where they want to go. And this is as wide open of a Super Bowl window as I've ever seen. I've been a Charger fan for a really long time. We're talking about 20 plus years now. So I've never seen a team this talented. I've never seen a window as wide open. I've never seen, a quarterback this good on the Chargers. So everything is there. Brandon Staley, the pressure's on him. If he is not able to make a deep playoff run, if he's not able to have success, right? If he's not able to have enough success, right, where the Dean Spanos and the family thinks that he is, achieving. Sean Payton is sitting out there. Let's not forget that, guy. Sean Payton is sitting out there. I'm sure he watched this game. I'm sure he's probably in the building. Being the former coach of the Saints, I'm sure he was in the building somewhere. But I'm sure he was there to visit, his old team. But I'm sure he was keeping an eye on the Chargers. I'm sure he was watching, some of this talent out there, watching Justin Herbert, watching Herbert warm up and Keenan Allen and Mike Williams, because Sean Payton is a guy, he wants to coach again. And, he don't want to go and coach, the Browns, or he doesn't want to coach the Jaguars or whatever. He wants to coach a team that has a chance to win a Super Bowl, just like he did in New Orleans in 2010. So he's going to be looking for, he's going to be really looking forward to seeing what team that he can take over, right? And the Chargers are, a team, if the Brandon Staley cannot get this together, I don't know. I don't know if he goes. I don't know if he comes back next year if he's not able to get this together with Sean Payton sitting out there. I don't think, the Spanos family is going to be able to turn that down. So, hey, it is what it is. But I think at this point right now, the Chargers got to get, just thank their lucky stars that they got out of this healthy. Just keep, JC Jackson as healthy as possible, and then move on. Now it's focuses on the Raiders in week 1 at home in SoFi, so they can go back and have a revenge game for that week 18 game last year, the way the season ended. So looking forward to it. Very looking forward to it, and hopefully things go well, and hopefully we're able to get through these cuts and just get focused on week 1. But that's the end of the preseason. 2022 preseason for the Chargers. Went by fast. Like I said, very uneventful, but I'm glad it's over, and everybody is a whole in one piece. So that's all I got for this one, guys. I'm gonna go ahead and end the stream now. I'm gonna go ahead and possibly make a video that I'll post tomorrow. I kind of wanted to go over Trey Pipkins and the right tackle situation, but that's all I got for this live stream here. I will see you guys later. I just want to thank everybody for all the support, all the comments, all the likes. Everybody who has, watched any video, engaged with me. I really appreciate it. Really, really appreciate it. I try to get to as many comments as I can. Try to reply to as many comments as I can, but it's a little difficult. Got a 2-year-old running around the house, getting into everything now. So try to do as best as I can. But yeah, I will see you guys again probably tomorrow. And thank you guys so much. Shout out to all my new subscribers. Thank you for the subscription. And go ahead and end the live stream here, guys. So thank you guys so much. I will see you guys later.